morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night for some of you. This is Grash, and we are here for sprint qualifying for the USGP in Austin, Texas. USGP. It is 4:26 Central Time, USA. Guess what? It's 4:26 track time because I'm in the same time zone as the track. Hooray! For those who don't know, I actually live in the state of Texas. I live north of Dallas, approximately. That's all you need to know. You guys have, during FP1, suggested I should have thrown off barbecue. Probably, but we can talk about that another time. Thank everyone here, such as Paula, Mikey. What's this here? There's fewer here now than there were earlier. If you're subscribed on the YouTube channel, give us a hoop and holler so I can shout you out. The family, these are the people who are throwing a few bucks each month to help keep the lights on. Thank everyone over in Twitch chat as well. Again, we're both live on Twitch and YouTube right now. I want to thank everyone who subscribed or followed on Twitch. You guys are the Racing Disc Army. Again, right now we've got 136,000. So about 340 subscribers away to 147. So numbers go up. Right now we're about a few minutes away from Q1. So the interesting thing with the F1 sprint is that, like quali, it has 3 sessions like quali, but the times are much different. It's only 12 minutes, 10 minutes, and 8 minutes, respectively, and they're required to use, I believe, the medium in Q1, in SQ1, SQ2, and then a soft in SQ3. So. Go poll right now. Who will get pole position? Russell, Norris, Oscar, or Verstappen? Right now, 48, 47%, 49. I think it's going to be Max. Oscar is second, about 34. Norris 13, and Russell is 6. Right now, looking over. Again, we've got a few minutes before we get going in SQ1. Take a look at the FIA document board. I don't think there was anything that came up. Yeah, there was nothing. No one was a bad point. The one document that we do need to point out is document number 2, the heat hazard declaration. Again, according to sporting regulations, they've got a forecast from the Federal Weather Service providing a heat index will be greater than 31 degrees at some point during the sprint or race, so a heat hazard declared, and that is true. What's the temperature right now? So right now it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 30 degrees Celsius right now for this sprint quali. This will be about the same temperature tomorrow for this for quali, and it'll be about, again, it was like 86 degrees for FP1. That will be about the same tomorrow for the sprint itself. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be a hot race. And it could get hotter. That's the biggest issue. And cars are coming out of the pits right now, and they're trying to get into that line. It is a mess right now as cars are lining up. And SQ1 has just started. Again, right now the qualifying format is 5 cars are kicked out in SQ1, another 5 cars are kicked out in SQ2, and then the top 10 will shoot out for the top 10 positions in SQ3. Next year it'll be, because with the addition of Cadillac to the grid, excuse me, it will be 6 cars knocked out in Q1 and SQ1. So first SQ1, Q1, 6 cars will be knocked out. SQ1 and Q1 will be another, SQ2 and Q2, another 6 cars will be knocked out. And then the last 10 will be set up for that shootout. Where ahead am I? Okay, so about 26 difference between two. Just looking right now. The unpopular position is that Lewis will get the P1. That's Harsh Kohli. That's interesting. What you guys are saying at the moment. A lot of guys saying hello to each other, hoping, glad to see each other at this moment. I am too, as well. So right now, Isaac was the first one to go out. Sonoda was second. Hulkenberg was third. Collier, Behrman, Borrell the next three. Ocon, Lawson next two, and Sainz and Albon after that. It looks like Leclerc is going to be the next one. Nope, no. The Aston Martins, then the Ferraris are going to go out. So right now, Isaac is coming around turn 19. He's about to start his flying lap. He will have to go through traffic, unfortunately. So notice next to go across that line, he'll have to deal with Leclerc coming out of the pits. So again, took us 3 minutes to get those cars out onto track and to get around, start those flying laps. So here comes times. Now there'll be enough time for them, particularly these first guys, to get out, do their thing, and basically get out and then get a chance to come to pit. Be less so in Q2 and almost not enough time in SQ3. So Isaac right now coming to 18, going to 19. But first one to finish. It's going to be the first one doing their finish a flying lap. Take a look as he comes across the line. It will be 134.856 first time on the board. Fastest sector 3. Hulkenberg is fastest second sector. Tsunoda goes P2. He's 0.4 behind Isaac. Here comes Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg goes to the top of the 147.758. It's 0.98. It's almost a tenth difference between him and Isaac. Those times will probably fall. Again, one of the things that's going on is that there will be track evolution here this weekend. F1, the only F1 is racing at COTA this weekend. So, and track was dirty when we went through practice. And then on top of that, there's also a ton of gravel around this grass doesn't look too good. We haven't had a lot of rain in the area, so not as much to cause fires, but enough to make the grass not look green. So Beeman is coming third, Sonora fourth, Ocon fifth, Borrell sixth. Lawson now to the top of the board, 134.603. He's 155 faster than Hulkenberg. Albon to P6. So only 9 drivers have set a time so far. Sainz to P2, he's 34 seconds behind Lawson. 34 thousandths, I should say, not. Gasly starting their flying lap. Bartolo's time was deleted. Track limits at turn 19. Alonso's gone up to 3. He's 134 thousandths behind Lawson. The big boys have not set times yet. So Stroll is up to 6, so 385. So we haven't seen the Papayas finish their lap. Max hasn't finished their lap. Russell hasn't finished his lap. Hamilton, now that's Leclerc coming to the line. They're going to jump up to only 10th. They're 744 behind Lawson. Here comes Hamilton. Hamilton goes to the top of the board, 134.226. He's 377 faster than Lawson's top time. Next to set a time will be Oscar. He's coming around turn 20 right now. And he's up to P2, 66 thousandths behind Hamilton. Here comes Norris. Norris goes P3, 96 thousandths behind Hamilton. So 3 point, and Verstappen to the top of the board. 134.14 time. He's 86 thousandths faster than Hamilton. Nelly is the next. So Russell, and yeah, Russell's next to set a time. Russell goes to P7, 5:13, so over half a second more than Max, and that will leave Antonelli the last one to do a flying lap. And he goes P5, 274 behind Max, so that's P5. Fastest second sector. Norris is the fastest third sector, and Max the fastest first sector. Hamilton is second in sector 2 and sector 3, so that is right now we're looking at your Gasly. I don't know why he's sliding a little bit. That's why. Not sure what has happened with Bortolello. There's no Porsche Cup this weekend. If the Porsche Cup was driving it'd be on F1 TV. So again, right now, what we're looking at is Max is the top of the board, Hamilton is second, and then the Papaya is coming in. Down at the bottom of the board, Albon is the driver at risk. He's a 135.334. He's one second point 194. So is 1.119 behind, and Behrman is 1.0919. So we're looking at all within about a tenth or so of each other. Behrman, Sonoa. In the drop zone, Leclerc, Gasly, Ocon, Colapino, and Borello has not set a time due to track limits. So and there's another scramble on pit lane, and the Haas's are basically blocking out one of the stake drivers. This has become more and more regular that the pit lane, the play to get into that fast lane has become a big issue. It's because from there, that's where they're spreading themselves out. Looks like that was Borletto who was the one. So it looks like Leclerc will be the first one out already. Then Albon, followed by Oscar and Sainz, and then Norris. Max with 6 to set a time. So at this point, everyone is out on track. There's a bunch of people. It'll be interesting if there's a couple people in the back who may not get. They are in danger of not being setting a time. They were out like 1:30 at turn one, so we'll see what happens. So Bierman is coming to turn 11 as we hit 1 minute to go with time left. Again, they're on their out. They got to get back. They're in the middle of sector 2. They've got to get through the sector 3 and to the start finish line. Of those in that mix is Borletto. He is behind. Looks like Ocon got ahead of Borletto apparently. Clark right now doing well. He's improving sector 2, sector 3. Albin also improving sector 3. Norris has the fastest first sector right now. 10 seconds. Isaac is across the line. There's going to people not going to make it. Hulkenberg. Antonelli makes it. Stroll does not make across the line. It's a good question. I don't think it's a whole slew of people who may not got not on a lap. Yeah, first car to take the flag was Stroll. Yeah. So Stroll, Behrman, Ocon is out. Tsunoda's already out. Lawson is not going to get a lap. These guys played games. Norris just did a flying purple lap. Fact is, and that means purple across all sectors. He did 133.224. Max is going to come in P2. Borletto is in that group. He's not going to set a time. Ocon did not set a time. Gasly is going to have a lap. He goes to P15. He's going to knock out Behrman. Behrman's not going to get a lap. Yeah, we know our five already right now. The rest on the board right now is for bragging rights. Isaac goes up to P6, but we know Behrman, Colpino, Tsunoda, Ocon, and Barletto are going to be out. Barlow did not set a time, but he will most likely be let to race in P20 because he did set a representative time during practice. But yeah, no. Yeah, Stroll. Yeah, I mean, like, uh, yeah, they played chicken and they went out too late. Yeah, tough time to. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like that is a. They didn't get Snowed out. Yeah, too many things for Nagans. Why? This is the pit lane. There might be impeding issues. A clerk looks like he might. We'll have to take. We'll see what the constructors say. I mean, yeah, stewards say about that. Yeah, Behrman, Colpino, Sonoda, Ocon, Borletto are out in Q1 SQ1. Gasly is lucky that he got into 15th. Stroll is lucky the fact that he was already in not in risk per se. But yeah, that was an ugly end of SQ1. Yeah, part of the problem that what the cars were everywhere, like again, everyone was on track, but we also had a bunch of cars who did not get across the line to start a final lap after the fact, and they basically were bunched up from the beginning. So who's still in? Gasly, Stroll, Leclerc, Alonso, Russell are in that next five. Lawson, Albon, Antonelli, Isaac, Sainz, next five, and then the top five were Hulkenberg, Hamilton, Oscar, Verstappen, and Norris. Of note, only the top eight positions score points in the sprint race. So it's 8 points for P1, and it drops a point all the way to P8, where there's only 1 point. Again, you're listening to Racing Statistics Channel. This is Crash with our live coverage of SQ1. We just had an ugly SQ1. This is probably the ugliest I've ever seen it. Probably the ugliest I've ever seen SQ1. Uh, that was Yuki Tsunoda. And Yuki was in that pack of cars that didn't make it across the line. He's racing with whom? Yuki's going to sprint qualifying position 18th. That basically is already doomed him to probably not score any points in the race itself. What happened? What do you call it? So there was a lot of pit lane shenanigans before basically they came in and pitted, and then there were when they came started to go back out for their final lap. There were a lot of pit lane shenanigans, and there was at least 5, 6 people who did not get across the start finish line to do their final lap. And that knocked them out automatically. Barletto, who had not set a time, was one of them. Ocon was another one. Sonoda, Colapino did cross the line, but he did not improve. Bierman was another. Stroll again. Stroll was part of that group, but he had a better lap earlier, so he ended up only 14th. So I mean, literally, Bierman was the driver at risk and was knocked out by Gasly because he was able to get across the line and do a lap itself. Getting a 4 kilometer highway exclusively for 20 cars and finding traffic in it. A bit ironic if you ask me. That's pretty much what happened here. And they're already lined up for so Q incident involving Isaac, Sonoda, Albon, Norris, Verstappen, Russell, Antonelli, and Stroll. We'll make it after the session. I think this sounds like this might be Delta times. And we're now already into SQ2. So the first one out is Max Verstappen, and then Stroll. And again, there's a line on the pit lane, fast lane, people waiting to go out. Lewis Hamilton is coming out of the garage. He's going to be at the back of that line. I don't know why they sent him out now. They could have waited another minute easily. The way they're all packed up. This is going to be definitely something that's probably going to be discussed about over the next off season. So Stroll is out, Alonso's out, Russell's out, Antonelli's out, Albon is coming out. Again, you're listening to the Racing 66 channel. This is Grash with you live with coverage of the sprint qualifying for the United States Grand Prix. We're in SQ2, second qualifying session. 10 minutes around the board. We're already thrown out 130 of those seconds already. So we've got 8 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in this session. And as they are using all medium tires as expected, they were required to use medium tires in SQ1 and SQ2, and then they'll be using a soft tire on SQ3. Tires this weekend, the hards are C1, and then we have a jump. It's not going to be C2. We've gone to C3 with these medium tires, and the softs are the C4s. Max right now on his flying lap. Stroll has started that flying lap as well. Max hitting about 280, 290 the speed trap. Russell gets, well, no, he's just starting a lap. Max at the end, straight in the end of sector 2 right now, hitting turn 12. So we have a few more seconds before we get first times on the board. I doubt they are going to pit like they did previously. And if it is, it's going to be more just a quick change of tires, if at all. Max coming into turn 19. See how he finishes off the lap. He's at turn 1920. Here it comes to the line. Max has a 113.163. So we'll see how that stands up. Right now, it's a purple lap, but again, he's the first one to go. Oscar is going to pass Max on track as he starts his flying lap. Stroll comes in P2, obviously. He's at 1.2 behind Max. We'll see how that goes. Lando comes in P2, 0.788 behind Max. Comes Russell and Hamilton. Russell goes P2. Hamilton starts his flying lap. And Russell is 0.3 behind Max. If you guys have any questions, please drop that into chat. Anthony just went P4, 0.9 behind Max. If you at Grasheriza, you'll highlight my name. Albin's going P3, 0.668 behind Max. So far, Hulkenberg, Isaac, Lawson, Gasly have not exited the pits as of yet. Sainz has gone P3, 0.489. So it looks like those guys are going to do a one-lap wonder and see where they set themselves on the board. Or they could, Oscar going P2, 0.208. No, 0.2, just more than 0.2 fast behind Max. Norris is about to set his flying lap. And he goes to the top of the board, 133.033, fastest third sector. So Sainz was the fastest in the first sector, Max the faster in the second sector, Norris is second, and then in sector 3, Norris is first, Max is second. Leclerc does a P9, 1.2. Max pitting, here comes Hamilton. Hamilton goes to a P9. So Stroll right now is in the drop zone. So as it stands right now, Hamilton, so those above a second, Antonelli, Hamilton, and Leclerc, P8, P9, P10. I consider them the drivers at risk collectively. Stroll is P11. He's in the drop zone. And then we have Lawson, Hulkenberg, Isaac, and Gasly, who have not set times. Lawson is now coming out to do his flying lap. And he should have clean air and almost no one else on track when he goes out. Isaac is now coming out second. So they are going to they're going to go around. They'll have time to get around and do their flying lap and most likely pit. Max has pitted. I don't expect him to come back out being P2. Hulkenberg is out now. It only leaves Gasly still in the pits. No question. You must be happy with the race being close. No, Scholastic. This is my time zone. I live in the state of Texas. I'm not from Texas. I just live. I work and live in the state of Texas. I live north of Dallas. Is the best way to describe it. I'm near Dallas, not in Dallas. I'm just outside. There's a ring around Dallas where the traffic is crazy. I'm just out. I managed to get outside of that ring of craziness. So. Norris is pitting. Oscar didn't pit. He has gone around. So Oscar, in theory, could go around again and do another lap. Clerk hasn't pitted. That is to be expected. He's probably going to go around, and so is Hamilton. He's probably going to go. He's going around to do another lap. We've got 2 minutes to go in this session right now. So we've got Lawson now coming around turn 20 to the line to start his first flying lap. Stroll is coming around to the line. We'll see if he takes off. I think he is. Albin and Sainz are also on pit out. So it looks like they pitted. Wait. Did they go? Did they just go in the pits and do a quick change? It looks like. So we got 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Question: Sainz and Albin, they should be able to get around. So here's so we've seen, yeah, Isaac is gone, Stroll is gone. Stroll, he's a second off. See what Alonso's doing. Alonso's second off. He's moving chicane. Hulkenberg is on his flying lap. Gasly is on his flying lap. Is Russell going again? Russell's not going again. Antonelli doesn't look like he is pushing it. Well, I don't know. Russell's at 25.3. He's 0.2 off. It's not that bad. Antonelli's at 25. He's improving. So I think the Mercedes are going on a new flying lap. Lawson just finished his flying lap. He comes at P11. He's going to be out. And with 1 second left, Isaac just went P10. Leclerc, is he starting slow? We'll see. So Williams are locked in their positions. So they didn't cross the time. Here comes Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg's going to P5. That just dropped Isaac into the drop zone. So the Racing Bulls did not make it out of Q2. Gasly goes to 12th. He's not making it out. So we know so far Lawson, Stroll, Gasly, and Isaac are out. It leaves Leclerc and Hamilton are the only two drivers on flying laps at the moment of note. Leclerc can get ahead of Hamilton and drop him into the basically Leclerc right now is a driver at risk. Hamilton Leclerc right now, Leclerc being dropped, Hamilton driver at risk. Leclerc right now to 19th. Leclerc crosses the line. He goes to 8th. That puts Hamilton in the drop zone. Here comes Hamilton. He's 11th. If he goes up one position, drops Antonelli. So we now know Antonelli, Isaac, Gasly, Stroll, and Lawson are the drivers who are being knocked out in SQ2. Both Williams are in. So what we've got right now is both Papayas, both Williams, and both Ferraris are in SQ2. Granted, it took a scrappiness moment for the Ferraris to get into that point. I'm from the Mediterranean. To me, Austin, Dallas, Texas is the same place. No offense. No. I'm several hours north. Like by car, I'm several hours north of Austin, and significantly different. So much so that the weather forecast for me is different than Austin. Oh, Lawson's. Well, again, the track line was deleted, but he was already out already. Here's Lance Stroll replay. It was very, and he. Cabanellis. A lot of wiggleness and squirreliness between Stroll and Lawson and Antonelli. Again, Antonelli did get kicked out again. What was it? 6.006 difference between him and Hamilton, which is a tough break on his part, ultimately. But he'll be back. He'll be okay. Right now, Alonso Hamilton in the P9, P10 position, which are, great. You're in the top 10, but those don't earn you points in the sprint. Leclerc right now getting a point. Norris right now getting a point on Max, but Max getting a point on Oscar. Norris getting 2 points on Oscar as well. If this were the result of the sprint race, if we were to say, we'll see at the moment. Again, right now we're setting up for sprint qualifying 3. 8 minutes will be put onto the clock, and they should be using the soft tires for this. So times that you've seen this 133.003, we're going to be in the 132s easily. Hulkenberg a P5 again. Looking again. Hulkenberg is always been a competent driver. He's now has a car underneath him that's actually performing for him. He's ahead of the Williams, Sainz, and Albon 6 and 7, and ahead of Leclerc, Alonso, and Hamilton. So that's a big deal for Hulkenberg right now. Big deal for Sainz and Albon. Again, 8 minutes is on the clock right now. We're just waiting for that green light at the end of the pit lane to go green and start the session. Hulkenberg is all right. I mean, guys, you gotta really think about this. I mean, they're saying Hulkenberg and Audi is going to be crazy. Hulkenberg's already an Audi. Audi already owns that Sauber team. We're just in the final few races of that title, team naming agreement that Sauber brought on. People think Lando might go pole. Sure where we are at this point. I will be glad that Audi is taking over and that the branding, the stake kick branding, will be gone. Being asked what you think of the 26 regulations, it's going to be interesting. I don't know what part of me is. I'm excited for it because it's just a huge change. Like DRS will be gone next year. Active air will be enabled. They're going to be using more of the battery. Battery is going to be much bigger in play than it was before. By the end of the season, the 26 cars will be just as fast as the 2025 cars. So we are now starting SQ3. Russell's going to be the first out. It's going to be crazy if it's going to be good. One of the things is they've reduced the effect of ground force. So like right now, we've got cars that have crazy underfloors. What part of the regulations is that is going to be the underfloor is going to be much simpler. There's less you can do. There's less craziness that that you will be able to do with the floor than what we can do right now, allowed under the regulations. Cars also going to be a little bit smaller and it's going to be a little bit lighter. So it's getting back to traditional F1 size cars. Again, traditional meaning 15, 20 years ago. It's going to be different, but we are going, again, one of the things is that we'll embrace it. That's one of the things I'll be happy about is I'll be embracing that change and see what happens. Again, I'm here to see what happens. I'm here to see the game played. I'm here, craziness. Much. I've seen stuff. I've seen crazy stuff happen. So right now we have Russell out here, Albon out here, Sainz out here. So for these guys who are out right now, they could, in theory, go around. Again, Russell's already gone around once. He's on his flying lap. Albon and Sainz, they could go do a banker lap, and then do another lap afterwards. What do you think about the F1 deal with Apple TV in the US? I'm still processing that. I'm not sure how I feel. Um, I was very happy with F1 TV from F1 themselves, and I'm not sure how I feel about having to get an Apple account and subscribe to Apple TV. I'm not an Apple fan. Let's put it that way. So I'm not too happy with that. Yeah, F1 TV is not going to be available in the United States. They've literally have sent me an email saying that I will not be able to renew my F1 TV account. Well, my F1 TV Premium or Pro account after literally today. We'll see what Apple. We'll see about. Well, again, that was just announced today, so I'm still in. I'm still reacting to it on an emotional level, and I'm not. I haven't been able to process it honestly on a, on a you know practical matter type scenario. The one thing about what they've said is that F1 basically premium is going to be free with an F1 TV subscription. If you could bring a track back to F1, which one would it be? Mm, I don't know. I don't know if I could answer that, but honestly, I know there's a lot of classic tracks. Um, I don't know. I maybe because I'm sentimental. I wouldn't mind seeing the Indianapolis Speedway course come back, but where things have gone with IndyCar, I'm perfectly fine them not going back to Indianapolis. So they did the same thing in France. The F1 isn't available unless you pay $40 to see the races live. Unfortunately, an Apple TV subscription is only like $12 a month, which is not that bad. It's still more than I'd be paying. Again, I was paying. It's still going to be like 30, $40 more a year to have an Apple TV subscription. Um, the one thing though with the Apple TV subscription, there are other things that Apple TV has under their umbrella which would make it worthwhile to subscribe. And I had thought about that a couple times. So we've got the three on the board. We've got Russell with a 132.888, and then we've got Sainz a 23 seconds behind, and Albon 211 behind. So Hulkenberg is the only one on their flying lap. He just started it, and everyone else, Russell is pitted. So I think and Albon is pitted. So they're done effectively. They'd have to come out like right now. Is Albon coming back out? No, no, they're done. Science is pitting. Okay. So again, we've got Russell, Sainz, Albon. They're locked in with their times. So right now, Russell is on provisional pole. Norris. So we're going to see Alonso come across the line. So Max, Oscar, and Alonso are the three who are on their flying on their outlaps still. Hulkenberg again on his flying lap right now. What we might we see is what we get on track. Oscar starting his flying lap. Max coming to 1920. Hulkenberg coming to 1920. So he's going to get locked in on his times right here. So Max is going to be the last one to go. So he's going to be if there's any major track evolution, he's going to be the biggest beneficiary of it. Hulkenberg, top of the board, 132.645. He is 243 faster than Russell. Clerk coming right now to the line. He comes in P5. Not a great lap. Hamilton is the next one. He's at 18 to 19 right now. Then Norris, followed by Alonso. Hamilton right now coming to the line. Hamilton comes at P4.390. Norris, top of the board, 132.214 right now. So right now, Norris on provisional pole, Hulkenberg P2. 0.4. Wow, that's a big jump. Here comes Alonso. And he's several tenths behind already. Norris at the fastest second and third sector. Max at the fastest first sector. Alonso's going to come in P4. 0.696. Oscar right now coming along. 2/10. He's going to come in behind his teammate, 3/10 behind his teammate. And now here comes Max. Fastest first sector. And he goes top of the board, 132.143. Max on pole. Max is on pole for the sprint race. Papaya is second and third. Norris, then Oscar. Hulkenberg, P4. That's a huge, huge result for Hulkenberg. Russell's P5, Alonso P6, Sainz P7, Hamilton right now P8. Albon and Leclerc P9, P10, looking on the outside of points at the moment. Again, points for the sprint is Max would be P1 is your 8 points, P8 is only 1 point. So only the top 8 get points. 9th and 10th do not get you points in the sprint. And that is our sprint grid for tomorrow. I know there were a lot of they listed off a bunch of people for Max at that time. I doubt that the stewards have, for the most part, have basically noted that, said they would do something after the session, and then don't do anything effectively at all. But Max right now, top of the board, 132.143. Norris, a 132.214. That's 71 thousandths difference between those two. So it's less of a tenth. Oh boy. All right, that would be our session here with qualifying. Again, Max on top of the board, Norris second, Oscar third, Hulkenberg fourth, Russell fifth, Alonso sixth, Sainz seventh, and Hamilton is eighth. Those are the ones who are starting in the points tomorrow for the sprint. This has been Grash. This has been my pleasure to do sprint qualifying. It's now 5:17. Hey, 45 minutes. Pretty much on the dot. We will be back tomorrow for the sprint race tomorrow. I'll be doing that tomorrow, as well as the qualifying for the Grand Prix. For everyone else, have a good day. Have a good night. Go get some barbecue and have some fun. Take care, everyone.